Oh my god. Please stop doing that. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to jump on the Bujo girly bandwagon and write a letter to my future self. As you can see, I am starting with nothing fancy, including my nails. Yes, they're grown out. I'm broke. This is my journal. She cute. And as you can see, I plan my pages extensively. I'm kidding. It's a post-it note. But let's get right into it. Get it? Right? Because I'm writing. Yeah. If that's the kind of humor that kind of tickles your heart fire or whatever, this might just be the channel for you. There's going to be a lot more that came from. And a lot of what my letter that I'm writing is actually about is this channel. Because if it isn't glaringly obvious, this is my first video. Welcome. It might be very clear from the low res, the computer recorded audio, but this is kind of day one of a new adventure for myself. I'll probably talk about it more in other videos, but I wanted to try something new, and so that's kind of where I started off my letter. So at the very beginning of the video, I kind of joked about the Bujo girly bandwagon with this letter. But in all honesty, I really love writing letters like this to my future self, to my past self. And last year, at the start of kind of my more creative journaling life, I tried to smoosh this really like heartfelt letter like this onto a very cutesy little piece of paper that matched my very cutesy journal theme. And as you can probably guess, that letter when I went back to read it last month was underwhelming. Writing a letter like this can't be about cutesy in hindsight. And something that I've learned in the last year of keeping and then failing to keep up with a creative journal is that cutesy wasn't ever really the point. I am a notorious perfectionist. So it only took about 3 months, maybe, for me to completely burn out on cute monthly themes and weekly layouts and washi tapes and acronyms I don't even know still in the Bujo world. But I guess I just came to a place where I had to recognize what creative journaling meant for me and what I wanted it to look like. So now I'm kind of just perfecting what that sweet spot is, where I can be creative and enjoy that time, but also respect some healthy boundaries so that it's still enjoyable and doesn't, I guess, fizzle out for me or become tiresome. And as of right now, here's kind of what that sweet spot means for me. Number one, I'm going one page at a time. That means no more themes, no more monthly plan or color scheme, no year long or life of the journal spanning trackers. It's just things that are in my head at that time. And there might be trackers here and there, but they're a shorter span at the month length tops. But I'm just going one page at a time. Design wise, if I want to do something orange today, that means I can do something purple tomorrow. I just think the freedom of that is taking a lot of the pressure off for me and making it a lot more fun to kind of go into a blank page with no, I guess, preset factors that I need to think about. The second thing, or the second component of my sweet spot right now, is that I have to stop buying stuff. I've been pretty good. I mean, other than buying the new journal a couple months ago, I'm just putting a ban on buying washi tapes or papers or, stamps, all of the stuff, the stickers. I just need to recognize that that stuff is fun and cute and really does make a journal look beautiful, but I think it just kind of clutters my brain, to be honest. And one of my other personal goals is being better about spending. So for me right now, sweet spot is to stop buying all the stuff. And then third, and for me, like I said, I am a perfectionist at my core. So number three is the most important, possibly, and it's that I have to accept that good enough is good enough. And honestly, this has been very freeing with this journal. There have been multiple times where I'm working on a page and I kind of just like shrug my shoulders and say, good enough, and move on. Because I know that what I put in my journal is not going to match the things that I see on YouTube or the spreads that I see on Instagram or Pinterest. And I think for me, stomaching that comparison has been really hard. But for me, that sweet spot is just embracing that good enough is good enough. If I found joy in that creative moment of putting the things on the page, then it's a win. The end. I guess one hope that I have for this channel is that I can help other people kind of find that balance in their own journaling. I know that sometimes I can get really caught up watching content creators, and I'm just so intimidated watching them because I'll look at what they can create in their journals and compare it to what mine looks like, and I see no way in which I can get my work to look like theirs. But the honest truth is that at the end of the day, I don't necessarily want mine to look like theirs. It's not even about that, like I said before. The more and more I think about it, journaling was never about making something cutesy. It was about me being able to be creative and finding some joy. So I think my goal and what I wrote about in my letter is that one, I want to create something, I want to be creative, but also, I want to be able to share that with others so maybe they can find their own way kind of navigating this. And the last thing that I wrote about in my letter was my goal for the year, which is to challenge myself. Specifically, to challenge myself to go outside of my comfort zone. I have lived very comfortably in that zone for years. And so it's time to break out, try something new, and this YouTube channel is step one. With my letter written, I needed to create it a nice little home in my journal. And so I went to the designated page, decided I didn't want to create a little envelope pocket on the left side page, so I switched it to the right. And then I tried to measure it, but measuring's hard. So instead of bothering to do anything math related, you can watch as I struggle to hold the piece of orange cardstock against the journal page and then flip it over and then just kind of trace the page on the back side of the cardstock so that I can, then cut it out and place it on the page. Which, I mean, it got the job done, but I guess stay in school, kids, and learn how to actually do math. And much to my astonishment, my perfect measuring system did result in a very small sliver of the page showing through. But you know what? Good enough is good enough. So we persevere. And I went ahead and trimmed off the very top. Again, very sophisticated measuring. I just folded it over and then cut along the fold. But I needed that so that I could place the letter inside. Now, in this next little bit, I'm about to do battle with my nemesis, which is this little glue roly thing. I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong or if I bought a bad one or what is going on, but mine hates me. I have three of them, all the same brand, but they all hate me. Whenever I need it to roll the glue, it doesn't want to roll the glue. So yeah, this is me trying to glue down my little envelope, gluing along the edges, the two sides and the bottom to create the envelope. And watching this video back to do the voiceover, I'm starting to realize that about 50% of it is watching me do battle with various craft supplies because here comes the next one, which is the washi tape. And while my real only issue with this teal washi tape was that it was a little bit too transparent, so you could kind of see the gold pattern that's on this orange paper come through. Ultimately, my issue with washi tape is that I just can't get it up off the damn roll. So, continue to watch me struggle as I try to get this new orange tape up off the roll. But ultimately, I did, and you know what? Ultimately, I got it off there twice because I put it on both sides to kind of seal in the edges of the envelope and kind of create a frame for my envelope sleeve. But I still kind of wanted that pop of color, so I went at it again and I grabbed a thinner, more, I guess, denser washi tape that's in a similar color to that original teal to kind of act as an accent color. And so I put that as a trim along the orange washi tape I just placed down. And yeah, you guessed it, I struggled again getting it off the roll, but I placed that along both sides. That said, before I went ahead and added that second piece of teal tape, I wanted to make sure that my actual letter fit in the envelope, seeing as the whole purpose of this page is to make the little envelope for the letter. So I just took a pause, folded my letter in thirds, and stuck it in there to make sure that even if I had those two pieces of teal trim, it would still fit. From there, I just took a second to do a little bit of cleanup. I went and trimmed those excess pieces of the washi tape and I just kind of stuck them to the side on a little piece of paper. I don't know about you, but with me, washi tape sticks to everything and clings to everything. So I really have to like stick it onto a surface nearby and set it over there so it'll just stay. Otherwise, it ends up in my hair, it ends up in my cat's hair, it ends up everywhere. So I trimmed those sides, put the washi scraps off to the side to create those clean edges so that it was ready to be trimmed and the corners could be cleaned up as well. And believe it or not, I have one more craft supply that either hates me or that I am not intelligent enough to use because here is my corner trimmer. I've used it so many times, and about 50% of the time I do it right. And the other 50% of the time I think I'm doing it right, but I'm not. So here we go. I trim the corner. I don't do it right because it's a little bit off, but I trim the corners to try to get rid of the little scrap of washi tape that I probably should have just cut off with a scissor. If you haven't picked up on it yet, I have no plan as I'm putting this page together. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but one way that I am finding balance and maintaining balance with this journal is going one page at a time, no extensive planning. I'm just kind of going with the flow, putting things together as they come to me. And so when I kind of got to this point on the page, I was kind of out of ideas, but as I looked at it, it just looked like a whole lot of orange. And so one thing I thought the page was missing was a title or something to just say, hey, this is a letter that I'm writing to my future self. And so I wanted to create something that kind of labeled it. And the other part of kind of creating balance with journaling for me that I mentioned previously is I'm trying to be really good about not wasting and saving money and not, always kind of jumping to adding something new. And so I had this scrap just kind of sitting off to the side. So I went ahead and just trimmed that, figuring that that would be a great piece to use to just add a title on quickly. So I trimmed that down a little bit and then I grabbed that teal tape that I was already using and added two pieces to either side to kind of act as that accent color and kind of add some interest to that title card so that I'd be able to kind of label what was in this envelope. And so I would know for my reference, but also just to kind of create that title. So once I have my title card put together, I go ahead and put it on the page. I always like to put things at an angle because then it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. But spoiler alert, she doesn't center it. I know, but good enough is good enough. That is the philosophy on this channel, in this journal, in this life. We're doing the best we can. I did have to go to battle with the G dang glue thing again, but we all survived. At this point, I'm just testing a couple orange markers to figure out which one's the better match. And then I just go ahead right on the title card and I write, Hey You, with the subtitle of A Letter to Future Me. Now, the perfectionist in me wants perfect print that's all straight and even. But the realist in me and the person that wants to maintain that healthy journal balance knows that my handwriting is good enough. And honestly, if it's my journal, my handwriting is probably the most important part of it. So, good enough is good enough. And here's the finished spread. I came back the next day and jotted down the latte recipe I had been working on for the last couple weeks to kind of complete the spread. Again, nothing planned and nothing fancy. I just recorded what was inspiring me in that moment. If you are interested in more low maintenance journaling content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for being here for my first ever journaling vlog. I can't wait to make more, and I look forward to seeing you soon.